on, Internet World? I'm Marco Hansel, CEO of FanForce. Some of you guys know me, but some of you guys don't know me, but probably know some of my past and present clients, like John Legend, Ludacris, Bobby Valentino, Chingy. We do work mostly in the urban sector, digital agency, so all that little behind the scenes, MySpace stuff, website stuff, that's what we do. So anyways, I woke up around 4 o'clock. And I really couldn't sleep. I had some ideas in my head about the music industry and digital and what was going to happen, what was going to make it change, different things like that. And I decided to come up with something called The Key to Saving the Music Industry. Give people what they want. Now, I'm going to put this in my blog, marcohansel.com, but I thought that it would be useful for me to actually read this to you guys, too. So here we go. So I've been having a lot of conversation with label execs, artists, managers, agents, digital marketers, and more about music sales and their horrible decline. I've heard some solid plans and some far-fetched ideas about how to fix the music industry. People have even told me that we just need to sue P2P users more and they'll start buying more music. On a side note, the person that told me that is my ace, but I don't even think he believed that when he told me. I've openly argued or refuted RIAA tactics, music taxes, and all other silly ways of shoving the business of music down people's throats. Through all my frustration of poorly planned label execs and people that just don't get digital, it would be negligent of me to keep pointing out problems without attempting to develop a solution. So I've been asked for the solution before, and while I don't really have a definitive business plan to single-handedly save the music industry, and note I said industry because the music is doing great, but the major label industry, not so much. What I can present is a mindset that we need to adopt that is built on the psychology behind purchase decisions. To start, let's talk about risk versus reward. Because suing, taxing, and controlling seem to be the tactics of the movement right now, let's disarm these methods by looking at the industry in terms of risk versus reward. To put it simply, every decision we make in life happens because we have determined that the reward or result of the action outweighs the risk or the work and consequence of that action. Following this pattern, you could argue that if you sue more people, or if you make the font of the FBI warning just a bit larger, that the risk would continue to rise until it outweighed the reward of free content. I'm not going to argue that these legal means aren't deterrents for the use of P2P, but will they stop it? No. And if you believe that, then I guess you believe the Rockefeller drug laws are the reason why New York is drug-free. Wait, never mind. So the only thing that has ever succeeded in suppressing or eliminating a seemingly malicious activity is by developing an alternative that achieved the same balance of risk and reward and met the wants the people had, of course, that had caused them to commit that activity in the first place. So, stepping back to reality and applying this to music, I'm just using music as an example because this applies to pretty much all content that can be pirated. Let's look at the consumer's mindset for a few things. When I'm making a purchase decision, there's pretty much 3 key things that I look at. Number 1 is what I want, what song or piece of content. Number 2 is when I want it, the timing. And number 3 is the format, quality, device, the subscription model, the single track, or the how I want it. So let's start off with what I want. First of all, let's agree that the success of P2P, iTunes, Amazon, MySpace, and all of the digital music sources has proven that people all want music. Agreed? Good. Just music. Of course, we could try to qualify it and say that it's good music, but that's pointless for this argument because good music is subjective and ranges incredibly from person to person. MTV, VH1, the labels, the radios, none of them can tell me what good music is. None of them can determine what good music is. Only I know what good music is, and when I hear it, I want it. And when I say I, I'm not talking about me, Marco Hansel, I'm saying I as the consumer. So in summary, I'll determine what's good music. Just make sure I have it, and lots of it. When I want it. The second piece is when I want it. This is something that I think so many people are completely missing. The answer to this question is almost always now. This means I want music. I hear a track on the radio. Do I want it 6 weeks from now when the label grants me the privilege to own that music? No, I want it now. And there's nothing wrong with this train of thought, and certainly nothing we can do about it. As a matter of fact, there's nothing we should do about it. People should want your product now. If you created a masterpiece, you don't need 6 weeks for it to grow on people. It should move them to want it now. You think you're building a buzz and anticipation by holding the track back, by controlling leaks, by telling people they can't have what they want. Newsflash, it's 2008. Content is everywhere. If I want your album and you're not going to give it to me, I'm not going to go cry in the corner and wait for you to release it. I'm going to get it myself. By ignoring my needs as a consumer, you actually contributed to my decision to pirate your content and lost the sale that you thought you would get in 6 weeks later. And furthermore, when comparing risk versus reward, the whole thing about low quality versus high quality goes completely out the window. My risk of getting a pirated version is that it could be a lower quality than the real deal. But since you won't give me access to the real deal, then it's between the pirated version and nothing, which would deny me of what I want. So in this case, yeah, I go ahead and sacrifice. I get the low bitrate version. I watch the cam version of the movie with the torrent site address all over it. Because just like the Rockefeller laws, instead of presenting me with the alternative to the malicious activity, you just told me what I couldn't do. So, long story short, if you have content, music, movies, whatever, make it available now. Not 10 weeks from now, now. I know many would argue with me because as a digital media planner, I've plotted and planned releases that involve holding back tracks all the time. But one thing I've never done is ignore the reality that more than half the population doesn't really care about your plans. If your track is out there, you can't ignore its consumption. You should be embracing it and make money from it, whether directly or indirectly. So in summary, for what I want music now, not when you tell me I can have it. I'm gonna get the music now, and why not give it to yourself? Give it to me yourself instead of letting me find an alternative that you don't profit from. Excuse the tongue twisting.